Hello everyone, this is the North American Math Contest Go Go Go. This week we are going to talk about this problem. So this problem we can start with the final output. Remember that n always have to be a positive integer. So let's start. So we can start with 1. N to 1, first process. For n, so we assume that if n is even, then n can be 2. If n is odd, then it is impossible as n have to be 0. And 0 is even, so it's not okay. So the only second last number is 2. And then we apply 2 again. For the even part, n can be 4. For the odd part, n can be 1/3. It is incorrect. So it cannot be odd. It can only be even. So even is 4. Recall, n has to be a positive integer. Okay? Then let's continue. Next step. Next step is both okay for n to be even or odd. If n is even, the input can be 8. The input of n is odd can be 1. The next step, let's start with 8 first. If n is even, 16 as an input can become 8 as an output. However, to make this step work, n can only be 7 out of 3, which is not acceptable since n has to be a positive integer. Therefore, this can only be 16. And again, we know that from here, it can only be 2. And then it can only be 4. For this, it can only be 4. Now, let's see what the input of this can be. N, if n is odd, n is equal to 5, which is acceptable. If n is even, n can be 32. It is also acceptable. So, two possible outputs can be 32 and 5. So now let's see 4. 4, we definitely know its output is 8 and 1. Now we see whether 5 has 1 output or 2 output. Or even part is definitely okay. N is equal to 10. Odd part, n has to be 4/3 in order for it to be work, which 4/3 is not a positive integer. So therefore, the only acceptable input for 5 is 10. 32, if using odd method, it can be the n value has to be 31 out of 3, which is not acceptable. If n is even, n can be 64, which is acceptable. So the only input for 32 is 64. So we know the 4 possible input are 64, 10, 8, 1. Therefore, the final solution is going to be 83, which is E. Here we come to the end of our lesson, and I hope you have learned a lot. See you next week. Bye.